everybody, Glenn here, and today I'm finally getting to that Q&A video that I've been talking about for a good month or so. I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to ask me some questions, find out a little bit more about me and the hobby and why I do what I do. I really appreciate everybody's submissions. I got a lot of great questions. Some of the questions were kind of repeat questions, so I combined them into a smaller number of questions. But again, I hope to have some fun with this, and I'm just going to kind of fly off the cuff, and let's get into it. All right, my first question is from Stephen Higgins. Hey, Stephen. He asks, what was your very first sub box and what made you order it? My first sub box was Loot Crate, and I think that's the case for a lot of people that that got into sub boxes. I don't know, probably, I guess now, two and a half years ago, something like that. As for what made me order it, I think, just like anything, you see an ad for something. I think they were promoting it on Facebook or Twitter, something like that, and I thought that the idea of a mystery box that you didn't know what was in it, I thought was a great idea. I might have even seen it on YouTube, I'm not sure. But Loot Crate was definitely my first, and it was actually, I didn't get any other sub boxes for a while. I had only Loot Crate for a good 4 or 5, 6 months before I expanded to other boxes. All right, Blind Seer 1 asks, will there be a time when you'll be willing to sell your pops, or are you going to give them to your niece and nephew? I really haven't thought that far ahead. Some of these questions are, what are you going to do in the future? And as far as pops, I'm really not sure. I mean, I can't see myself getting rid of these pops. As most of you know, from time to time, I do sell some of my pop figures. I need some quick cash or something. I'll sell some of them. They're not to the point where I feel like I can't get them again. You know what I mean? I spent some time trying to get rare and exclusive pops, really focusing on those over anything else. But I've since kind of seen that it's more stressful for me to be hunting after exclusives. When I come across them, I buy the things that I like, and if exclusives and rares are cool pops to me, I'm going to get them. As far as selling my whole collection, I really don't see that anytime soon. There might be a day where, look, I'm going to have to move, and I really am going to weigh, okay, is it worth taking everything with me, or, am I going to start something new? I don't think I'll leave them to anybody or give them to my nieces and nephews. I just doubt that very seriously. First of all, they're not into it as much as I am. Number two, they don't have the space, and I purposely am making it so that this is my collection. I'm able to take care of it and hold on to it. So, there might be some point in the future where I sell them, but I just don't see it right now. All right, Sricharan. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing these handles. Obviously, they're kind of all over the place, but asks quite a few questions. Actually, let's start with, how do you stifle the urge to have a complete collection? Does that feeling of being incomplete ever go away? Do you think companies unfairly play towards collectors' urges by introducing chases and limited editions? As far as, a complete sets, I think that's what he means. Not a complete collection. Obviously, nobody has a complete Funko Pop collection, but what I think he means is having the complete Marvel set, or having all the DCs, or having all the Walking Deads, or having all the Game of Thrones, those kind of things. I like the idea of having complete sets, and I kind of work towards that a little bit, but if they're not pops that I like, I don't get them anyway. So I've kind of gotten over that whole, I don't have the complete set. In fact, of the pops that I have, and I've mentioned this before, but anything over 2 pops, I really don't have any complete sets. I think I might have one complete set now, and that is, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't remember what it is, but there might be 1 or 2 that I have a complete set of. I have a complete set of Futurama pops. But again, that's not complete either, because I don't have the San Diego Comic-Con alternate universe Fry and Leela, for example. But though that's a really expensive pop set and it's tough to get. So I kind of flipped the switch to where I wasn't that concerned about complete collections because for a lot of them, there's no way I'm going to get them. That kind of leads into the next part of that question is, do I think companies unfairly play towards that where, oh, they release a repainted or a chase or some sort of exclusive version of a pop, and then you have to get it to complete your collection. I don't think it's unfair per se. I think it's a company knowing who their audience is and who their consumers are, and knowing how to, get the most bucks for their bang, right? So I don't think it's unfair. I think it's consumerism, and I think it's a company being smart about it more than anything else. I'm going to do a couple of Funko Pop reviews on a couple of exclusive versus regular pops, and there are a couple of situations where the exclusive, for instance the Hot Topic exclusive, is so ridiculously close to the normal regular version that I think that's kind of snarky. That doesn't thrill me too much because it's not enough of a difference. But you know what? You go out and buy them anyway. So I don't think it's unfair, but I'd like to see them, if they're going to do exclusives or variants, let's make sure they're quite a bit different. But other than that, I don't mind companies doing that. I know for a fact, and I've gotten over that hump where I think I'm going to have complete collections, and I know I'm just not. I'm just buying the pops that I want. All right, Davis Gibb. Hi, Davis. How are you? Asks, what is your overall favorite item you've gotten from a sub box? That is super tough. If you've seen Studio B, you know how many sub boxes I've actually gotten. But what I can tell you is that my favorite items from sub boxes are the ones that are unique. I'm not gonna have a favorite thing that's a keychain or even a favorite pop figure necessarily. There's been a lot of pop figures that I've really, really liked. But my favorite items from sub boxes are things that kind of throw me for a loop. They're things that surprise me. They're things that I find unique. There are things that you don't find in every sub box. For instance, Cosmo Cube for a couple of boxes was doing some really unique things. They had their steampunk box and it had the steampunk goggles. I really liked that item. It was a nothing item, right? But it was one of my favorites just because it was different and unique. In the Nerd Block, was it Nerd Block? Last month when they did their Christmas box and we had that Christmas Vacation Moose Mug shot glass. That was a really neat item that I really enjoyed. I liked it a lot just because it was different and unique. So those are my favorite items. They're ones that are fun, unique, and aren't your typical t-shirt and pop figure. All right, Geek for Life asks, did you ever get a box that you absolutely hated? And what was it about that box that made you hate it? Alternately, did you ever get a box that you thought was perfect or near perfect? And what made that box so good? As far as hating a box, I don't know that I've hated a box because all boxes have one or two items that are good. Now, when I say I hate a box or I'm really disappointed in a box, it's usually because the value of that box is so low compared to what I paid for it. That's when I start to get into that I hate this box. A couple come to mind. Number one, the My Geeky Goodies box, one of their last ones. And all the things I'm talking about I'm going to put in the video so you can find them and we'll go back and watch those videos. But the last couple of My Geeky Goodies boxes were a disappointment to me just because they had a box that was a mashup box, a mystery mashup box, and it had a lot of unrelated, totally random things in it and stuff that wasn't that great. Yeah, it had a pop figure, which was cool. It had Ash as the pop figure, but everything else was just kind of random. So I don't like those kind of boxes. I like boxes that have either solid themes, or if you're talking about a box like Geek Fuel or Powered Geek Box, have quality items in there, even if they're not going to have a theme. They're a little bit related. As far as a box that I thought was perfect or near perfect, I don't think I've ever been 100% about a box, but the first Marvel Collector Core comes pretty close. And I think part of that was the newness of it. And, you know, the Hulkbuster was so great. And it was the first time we were getting pins and patches and all exclusive. It kind of kicked off the trend of all exclusive item boxes. And that one was probably the one that I gushed over the most, as far as, you know, stuff that I was really amazed with. And, you know, it kind of set off that trend and set off the rest of the Funko boxes that were really good. And, you know, I can't think of anything that I didn't like in that box, and some successive boxes as well. They weren't as good, but they were, you know, they were still continuing that quality. So that's what I would say is that first Marvel Collector Core. British Geeky Guy, how's it going, British Geeky Guy? Ian, in other words. What made you start making videos? That is a really tough one because that was almost a year ago, so it was about 10 months ago or so. And I think what happened was I was still getting Loot Crate, right? So I was, and I was starting to branch out into other sub boxes, and I didn't know what kind of sub boxes I should get or what I wanted. So I started cruising YouTube, and I saw a lot of unboxings. I saw a lot of surprise, here's what I got, you know, reaction videos, which are great. But, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of videos really going in depth on the items. They was pretty much, oh, here's this, and then putting it down. Oh, here's this. Oh, here's this. It wasn't really a review setup. It was more like, here, I'm surprised. I don't have a lot of time to talk about it because I haven't really had a chance to look at it very much. But here it is. So there were a lot of those, which again are great. I love watching unboxing videos that way. So then I stumbled across Beardy Nerd's channel. And Beardy Nerd, for those of you who don't know, and I'll link his channel down at the bottom. It's one of my, and it's on the side of the channel as well. It's one of my go-to channels just because he actually did reviews of the box. He didn't do unboxings. He doesn't, you know, do that old surprise. You know, he actually does his research, and he, you know, opens his box ahead of time, goes and looks at the values of the items, finds similar boxes, finds similar items online, and really comes up with a value for the box. And I thought that was great. I was really inspired by him and by that. And I just love the way he was no nonsense about it. And here's the items in the box. Here's what I think about it. Here's the value. And here's whether you should get it or not. So I didn't see many of those. So that really inspired me to do reviews. And I didn't want to just do sub boxes. I wanted to do, you know, figures and even movies, TV, things like that. A lot of stuff that honestly I haven't been able to get to just because I've been so wrapped up in the subscription box world and the Funko Pop world and other things like that. But it was an idea that I was going to review things and not unbox things. And again, Beardy Nerd just really inspired me, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. I wanted it to be about a little more subjective and a little more about what I like versus what the money value of the video, of the money value of the items were. So I didn't get so much into doing a bunch of research on what the value of this item and value of that item, total them up. I did a couple of those, but I really kind of trended towards, do I like this? Is it fun? Is it cool? Is it worth it? You know, are you going to be surprised? Are you going to be happy with this, regardless of what the value of the box is? So that's kind of what got me doing it, and I found that the more of the videos that I did, and the more support I got from everybody and subscribers, I really found that it just really became a passion for me. So that's pretty much how it started, and you know, it just kind of went from there. The next one's going to combine a couple of them. Tesa07 and Stuart Lee sent in a couple of similar questions, basically asking what are some pops that a line of pops that I would create, or a line of pops I would design from the, you know, is there a Funko Pop line that I haven't seen or is not out there that I think should exist or should get a redesign? I'm combining these because that's a great question. If I could create a line of pops that doesn't exist yet, what would it be? But I really can't think of a line or an IP that hasn't been done yet. So what I think about more often is lines of pops that I would either redo, or in this case, continue. And for me, the line is The Simpsons. When we first got the Simpsons Pops, and these were some of the first Pops that came out, where the Simpsons Pops were early. You know, we got Homer and Bart and Lisa. We got the regular family, Marge. What I would like to see, and if I was able to do it, I would have Funko start that line, continue that line. I'd love to see Smithers, Mr. Burns, the comic book guy, Flanders. You know, I'd love to see those other characters, Apu, in Pop form. So I would love it if Funko would continue that Simpsons line. So that would be what I would do if I could either create a new line or redesign or continue a line. I would continue that Simpsons line because I love to see all those characters from Springfield in Pop form. So there you go. So combining a couple more questions, the Geeks Attic and our friends over at Unboxing Rocks asked basically what the Geeks Attic asks what my favorite movie is of all time, and then the two of them ask what type of music do I like? What is my favorite middle-aged band? So as far as my favorite movie of all time is Raiders of the Lost Ark. And now that I think about it, that is the new line of Funko Pops that I would start, would be Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. I'd love to see Indiana Jones. I'd love to see Marion. I would love to see Belloc. I'd love to see the characters from the Indiana Jones movie in Pop form. Short Round. I'd love all those, right? So I just thought of it. So that would be the new line that I started. But anyway, Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie of all time. I also really like The Shawshank Redemption. Those are 1 and 2 for me, probably. I know it's kind of surprising I don't say something like Star Wars or one of the Marvel movies, but those two movies are definitely the top 2 for me. As far as music, I kind of run the gamut on music, but what I can say is that the first concert I went to, actually when I was about 11, I think, was Journey. So Journey's always held a special place in the firmament of my rock greats. Now, I don't like Journey right now because the Journey that's out there right now is not Journey. Steve Perry makes Journey, so I refuse to go see Journey right now. But they're up there. They're probably my favorite as far as Unboxing Rock says. My favorite middle-aged rock band would be Journey. As far as music, otherwise, my favorite band is Depeche Mode, and has been since I was probably 17 years old. So they're my favorite band, the one that I've seen the most in concert, absolutely. But I like most types of music, other than your regular country or basic hip hop. I'm really not into those two. But I like any music that's different. I like music that combines genres. That's why I like some hip hop. And back in the day, I was a big fan of bands like Black Eyed Peas and things like that kind of strayed from the norm. But again, other than that, I like all different types of music. I've gone through phases, and I think we all do that. Growing up, I went through. It's funny. I went through a classic rock phase, which I'm kind of back to now. I went through a rockabilly phase, like your Stray Cats, Brian Setzer phase. I went through a techno phase where I was way into techno music. I went through a kind of swing pop. Remember when swing pop was big in like the 90s, like the early 90s? I went through that phase. I had a zoot suit and a hat. And I was doing swing dancing and stuff like that. Luckily, records of that period don't exist in my life. But again, I enjoy all different types of music, and it's very rare that you're going to find something that I can't at least appreciate. All right, Scott Higgins asks, what inspired me to start collecting? I've always been a collector. I've always liked to collect things. Now, that being said, this is the first time with Funko Pops, this is the first time I've really been inspired to keep it going for more than, I don't know, a year or two. I've collected things like keychains and DVDs, It's comic books, the normal things that kids collect or young adults collect. But Funko Pops really are the first ones in a long time that have really inspired me to keep that collection going. So I don't know exactly what inspired that, other than that my type of personality. I like to stack things up. I like to line up things. I like collections in general. So that's kind of where I am with why I started collecting in the first place. He also asked me my top 3 grails my 3 dream pops. I don't like to think of it that way, because I've kind of made the decision that, look, I'm going to focus on the pop figures that look good to me. And you know what? And those, for the most part, are commons. They're not rares or exclusives or anything. So I don't really have any grails. And, pop collecting for me is an activity. It's not about the end product. So I have a lot of trouble spending $50, $60, $100, $200, $300 for a pop figure. Like a lot of people, and more power to you. If you have grails that you would spend $200 for, absolutely go for it. I just can't see myself doing that. So I don't really think in terms of grails. I see what comes out. I see what catches my eye either in the store or online. And, if I want it, I get it. I don't really have any, top 3s or anything like that. All right, Kanaya Gabriel asks, why collect Funkos in the first place? Why not other vinyls? I like Funko Pops the best. I've seen other vinyls, and honestly, other Funko vinyls I like. But some of the other vinyls, Kid Robot, Loyal Subjects, Titans, those are good figures, and I don't have anything against those figures. They just don't draw me in like Funko Pops do. I think in some ways there's a backlash towards Funko now, where some people see big collections or they see all these Funko Pops coming out, and there's a backlash. There's a, oh, I'm going to actively avoid Funko Pops in favor of, Mighty Mugs or Titan figures, which is fine. But I just happen to like Funko Pops the best. They're the ones that draw me in. They're the ones that I think look good next to each other. I've never big into the mainstream kind of action figures. Even Funko reaction figures, I'm not a big fan of. It's that old school kind of figures. I'm just not really into that stuff. As far as vinyl figures or collectible figures, these are the ones that draw me in more than anything else. All right, our good friend Russell Soraparu asks, what made me start collecting sub boxes? And I kind of addressed that already. I had seen something about Loot Crate, and I just decided, well, let's check it out. I'd love to. And that's back when it was a mystery. They didn't reveal as much as they do now. So the mystery part of it really got me collecting those. What is your favorite TV show? Boy, that's a tough one. I really don't have a favorite TV show. I like a lot of TV shows. If I had to pick a couple that I can't wait each week to watch, that'd be Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. Those are the two that, if I'm working on Sunday night, I'm bummed because I don't get to see them. And if I'm not, it's an event for me, so I make sure I watch it. But I have a ton of TV shows that I like. I'm not as much into TV as I was before, so I'm just recording a whole lot. And sometimes I'll go a whole season without watching that stuff on the DVR, and it'll go away. And by the time I get to it, it'll be the next season. So I do a lot of catching up, and I do a lot of binge watching. Shows on Netflix and things like that. But I don't really. There's not too many that I need to see first run all the time. There's a lot that hang out on the DVR till I get to them. What do I collect besides Pops? I don't really collect anything else right now. As I said, in the past I've collected other things, but those collections just kind of have fallen by the wayside. My problem now with collecting anything other than Funko Pops, I just don't have the room for it. In fact, I'm doing some rearranging of my man cave space and all that, and I really don't have room for anything else. I'm thinking about getting shelves and more things, and they're all for Funko Pops, and they're all for Dorbs, and they're all for Mopies, and they're all for Minis, if I get back into them. So pretty much it's all about the Funko Pops now. I really don't collect anything else. And my favorite superhero. Man, the these questions about my favorite things are really tough for me because it's like picking between your favorite children or between your children to get your favorite. Um, it sounds funny, but my favorite superheroes tend to be the females because I don't think they get as much pub, and I like the idea of uh, these strong women superheroes. Um, I don't know because it's different, I guess. You know, it doesn't hurt that they stand toe to toe with the guys. That just really, I don't know, for some reason that really um, strikes something with me. So I really like characters like Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn. Um, I am so in love right now with Rey from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's not even funny. I know she's not a superhero, but same kind of thing, same kind of vein. Um, Batgirl, I really like. As far as other superheroes, um, Cap, I can't go wrong with Captain America. I've really been a big fan of uh, that kind of, you know, he's so pure of heart. I just love that about Cap. The X-Men, I dig the X-Men. I'm not a big fan of the film X-Men very much, but X-Men were my thing when I was a kid. As far as comics go in the '80s, I was just all over the X-Men. So, but those are some of my favorites. All right, Rusty, otherwise known as Your Average Techie. Hey Russ, how are you? Asks, what was my first pop and what is my favorite so far? My first pop figure, I just happen to have right here, is the original Gizmo. I saw him in the store and I could not get him. So this is my very first pop figure. I probably got him in probably early 2014. So not that long ago. Maybe mid 2013, something like that. So Gizmo's my first. Some of my other firsts, I got Gollum was an early one as well. It's hard to remember which ones were my first ones now. I definitely remember my first one, but those are a couple of my early ones. As far as my favorite, again, that's a favorite pop. I mean, I've got 400. It's really tough to break it down to my favorite pop. But I will say that there's one pop that I always go back to and I look at and I just smile and I marvel at how good it looks. And that is Thrall from Funko Pop Games and World of Warcraft. This pop I just love the way it looks. It's the most detailed pop that I've ever seen. I love his armor. I love his face. Doomhammer just looks awesome. And it's just an amazing looking pop figure. So while it might not be my favorite, it's the one I keep going back to. Is it perfect? No, it's even got a little couple of flaws on it. But it's the one I always, whenever it catches my eye on the shelf, I just love this pop, and it really speaks to how a well done pop figure can be. All right, Abe Medina. Hi, Abe, one of our Hall of Fame members. Will you ever stop? That makes it sound like you kind of want me to stop, but I won't take it that way. Will I ever stop? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Other than will I ever stop making videos? Will I ever stop collecting pop figures? I don't know. I don't know about the future. It could very well that I will, but I enjoy it too much right now to think about it. It's just what I enjoy doing. I get great feedback on doing subbox reviews and Funko Pop reviews, and obviously I love Funko Pop. So as far as stopping what I'm doing, I don't really see that in the future. Do I have any pets? Yes, I have a cat. His name is Luke, and he's shown up on my Instagram pictures from time to time. And there you go. I have one cat. Any wanted variants. There's a lot of wanted variants. Every time I see something, I want it pretty much. So that wouldn't be something I could narrow down. Other than, I like variants that are different. Variants that look good and have good paint jobs and aren't just slightly recolored variants of a common pop. So variants I'm not that much into above commons, but I will pick them up when they look cool to me. Pop rides? Question mark. I'm not sure what that means. Do I have any? I have a couple. I've got the gray Deadpool Chimichanga X Force version from Comic Con, and I've got Lola from Agents of Shield. So director Coulson and Lola. So I've got those couple. Um, rides are another. Rides and oversized pops are other is another area where I don't have a whole lot of room. So rides take up a lot of space. Oversized pops take up a lot of space. So I have a couple here and there, but I really mostly focus on the regular size pop figures. And then lastly, he asks Star Wars or Star Trek. Star Wars all the way. Believe me, I love Star Trek. I really do. Um, but is the Star Wars is the franchise. It's the series of movies. It's even the comic books. It's the thing that elicits an emotion from me more than anything else. I saw Star Wars: The Force Awakens for the second time last week, and the tears just came. I just couldn't help it. And it's not that anything's sad or anything. I don't know if it reminds me of my youth or what, but the Star Wars franchise and the Star Wars series really just creates an emotional connection to me that I don't have with Star Trek. I enjoy Star Trek. I enjoy Star Trek a lot. And especially in the late 80s and early 90s, I was way into Star Trek The Next Generation. But nothing really comes close to Star Wars for me. All right, Jerome Murphy asks, what's your take on custom pops? I get this question a lot. Are they worth the prices being charged for them or no? I don't have a problem per se with customs, but it's not something that I pursue as far as custom pops go. And I think the reason is just in the back of my mind, I've always been into official things. You know, I want the official Funko Pops. I want the official Star Wars Lego set. You know, customs are very cool, and there's just some amazing talent out there um, that are put into these custom pops, and I don't begrudge them a single dollar of what they make from them. I think the custom makers are artists. I think it's something that there's no way I could do or do very well. So I don't have a problem with custom pops, but personally for me, not something that I would go out and make and get when there's so many regular pops that I want and you know, and enjoy and really seek out. So custom pops not my thing, but I think they're really cool. And lastly, Susan Lamb asks, what is your favorite non-Funko item you own or want to own? Well, you know, and I talked about Thrall earlier, and I hate to kind of go back to this, but my favorite non-Funko item, at least right now, is my World of Warcraft 10th anniversary statue. And it's not that this statue is amazing. Number one, it's heavy and it's hurting my arm. So it's a very cool statue, but it signifies to me a length of time. So this statue went to subscribers who have been subscribers for 10 years since the beginning of World of Warcraft. So 2004 to 2014. And this one just means a lot to me for that reason, that it represents a certain amount of time investment, and one of my favorite things is World of Warcraft as far as, you know, gaming goes. So to get this was really special to me, and just having it is really cool. It's something that I'll never sell or be able to duplicate or get again. So that's probably my favorite non-Funko item. That's the other thing, is I'm not much of a pack rat. I don't keep a whole lot of stuff. If I need to make room for something, I prioritize and I give away things or I sell things. So, you know, I don't have a whole lot that are prized possessions that I got when I was a kid or a teenager and I've kept. I really don't keep things. If there's no purpose or they're just taking up space. It's just not what I do. I tend to purge a lot. So that's about it. That's it for the Q&A. I appreciate everybody watching. This is a long video. Even when I edit it down, it's gonna be one of my longest videos I've ever done. But I really wanted to connect with everybody and answer your questions, and hopefully make a video that you guys haven't exited out of after the first 30 seconds. So that'll be it for now. Oh, I also wanted to announce our giveaway winner for this video. So congrats to Stuart Lee for submitting a question, and you're going to win this red-eyed Crowley from Supernatural pop figure. So I'll be contacting you and getting your information, so congratulations on getting this very cool pop figure. That's about it for now. I've got a lot of great videos. Thanks everybody for submitting your questions. That was really fun and really awesome for me to do. Hopefully it entertains you as well. We've got some other great videos coming up, more subscription box reviews and Funko Pop reviews. I'm starting to get backed up a little bit now, so they're going to be coming a little bit faster than normal. As well as a couple months down the line, I've got a special announcement as far as the future of the channel and me. So that's about it. Check us out as always on our social media feeds, and we will see you next time.